The desert stretched for miles under a sky painted in shades of orange and red. Wind swept across the barren land, carrying grains of sand that stung the faces of those who dared to walk through it. On the edge of this endless wasteland, a small team of explorers landed their ship. Mara, the leader, an astrobiologist, stepped down first. Her eyes scanned the horizon. She felt excitement mixed with a quiet fear. The desert was alive in a strange way. Kian, the engineer, followed closely behind, carrying equipment for digging and scanning. He was tall and calm, always thinking 2 steps ahead. Behind him were 3 other members of the team, Taro, the geologist, Nira, the medic, and Cello, the technician. Together, they had trained for months for missions like this. Yet, nothing could have prepared them for the feeling that they were being watched. The ship's sensors had picked up an unusual energy signal beneath the sands. It pulsed in a rhythm that seemed almost alive. Mara touched the device that measured the signal. Her fingers tingled as the numbers jumped across the screen. "It is strong," she said. "Whatever is down there is not natural. We need to find the source." The team gathered their tools and walked toward the location indicated by the signal. The sand was hot under their boots, and the wind tried to push them back with every step. Taro examined the ground carefully. "These markings are old," he said. "Older than any civilization we know. They might be clues to where the signal comes from." As they moved forward, Cello pointed to a series of rocks arranged in a pattern. "Look at this," he said. The stones formed a path, almost like they were guiding the explorers somewhere. Mara's heart beat faster. She knew they were close. The path led them to the mouth of a cave hidden by a sand dune. The entrance was wide and dark, and a cold breeze blew from within. It felt like the desert itself was exhaling. Mara took a deep breath and stepped inside. The team followed, their lights cutting through the darkness. The cave walls were covered in strange symbols that glowed faintly. Nira reached out to touch one. Her fingers passed through it, and a soft hum filled the air. "What is this?" she asked. "It feels like it is alive." Kian examined the symbols with his scanner. "These are ancient markings," he said. "They are not just decoration. They are a kind of map, showing something hidden deep below." Mara nodded. "The sacred chamber of eternity," she whispered. She had read about it in old records, but she never thought she would find signs of it. Legends said the chamber contained knowledge and power far beyond anything humanity had ever known. Some thought it was just a story, but the signal proved it was real. The explorers moved deeper into the cave. The walls grew taller, and the air became cooler. The hum of the symbols followed them, almost like it was guiding their steps. Taro pointed to a narrow passage. "It turns here," he said. "The map continues inside." As they entered the passage, the ground shook slightly. Small rocks fell from the ceiling, making the team jump. "We need to be careful," Mara warned. "This place is old. It may not be stable." The passage opened into a large chamber. The team stopped and gasped. The walls were carved with images of stars, planets, and strange creatures. In the center, a glowing orb hovered above a stone pedestal. The energy from the orb matched the signal that had brought them here. Mara felt a thrill of wonder. She knew that what they had found was just the beginning. Suddenly, a shadow moved across the chamber. The team froze. "Did you see that?" whispered Nira. Mara nodded. She had seen it too. Something, or someone, was watching them. The shadow disappeared as quickly as it came, leaving only the echo of their footsteps. Kian checked the scanners. "No life forms detected," he said. "But something is definitely here." Mara stepped forward, her hand hovering over the orb. It pulsed gently, as if responding to her presence. She felt a connection, a sense that the chamber was aware of them. "We need to document everything," she said. Every symbol, every pattern. This could change everything we know about our history and the universe. The team worked carefully, taking notes, scanning the walls, and photographing the symbols. Hours passed, but none of them noticed. The desert outside continued to rage with heat and wind, but inside the chamber, time seemed to move differently. As they prepared to leave the chamber, Mara felt a mix of triumph and unease. They had discovered something incredible, but she knew that this was only the first step. The signal was a guide, and the chamber was just the beginning of a journey that could change humanity forever. With a final look at the glowing orb, the team stepped back into the passage, ready to follow the map deeper into the unknown. The desert wind hit them again, but now it felt different, almost like an invitation to continue. Mara's eyes shone with determination. She knew that the sacred chamber of eternity held secrets beyond imagination, and they were the first humans to uncover them. The team stepped carefully through the narrow passage, leaving the glowing orb behind. The deeper they went, the cooler the air became. The walls were covered with more symbols, some similar to those in the first chamber, and others completely new. Mara held her scanner close. The symbols emitted faint energy, and the device hummed as it tried to read them. "This looks like a map," Kian said, studying the patterns. "Each symbol points to a direction, a step forward. It is guiding us somewhere." Taro knelt and traced one of the carvings with his finger. "These symbols are clever," he said. "They are like puzzles. Whoever made them wanted only the careful and intelligent to find the next step." Mara nodded. "That must be why the chamber feels alive. It is testing us, or at least observing how we solve the puzzles." They moved forward, following the map through winding corridors. At one point, the path split into 3 tunnels. Each tunnel had symbols that seemed to tell a story. Mara studied them closely. The left tunnel showed humans walking among strange glowing plants. The center tunnel showed the same humans discovering a large, radiant crystal. The right tunnel showed darkness and shadows surrounding the humans. "This is a choice," Mara said quietly. "The map is asking us to pick a path. One path leads to success, one leads to failure, and one may be dangerous." Kian frowned. "We cannot guess. We need logic. Look at the symbols. The center path has patterns that match the energy readings from the first chamber. I think that is the way forward." The team agreed and entered the center tunnel. The walls here were smoother, and the air felt heavier. Tiny lights floated in the air, glowing softly. They illuminated carvings of strange creatures that seemed to move as the humans walked past. The team could not tell if it was a trick of light or something more. Hours passed, and the passage finally opened into a wider hall. In the center of the hall was a pedestal, empty but surrounded by intricate designs. The walls glowed with a golden light. Mara approached it slowly. "This must be another test," she said. "The chamber wants to see how we respond." Taro examined the carvings. "These images show tools and machines, but also books and scrolls," he said. "It is like the creators valued knowledge and invention equally. We have to be careful. The chamber may reward curiosity, but punish greed or carelessness." Kian nodded. "We must record everything. Every mark, every object. We cannot make assumptions. Logic and careful observation will guide us." The team spread out, documenting the hall. Nira used a special camera to capture the glowing symbols, while Cello scanned for hidden mechanisms or passages. Mara felt a strange pull toward one section of the wall. She reached out and touched a symbol shaped like a sun. The wall shifted slightly under her hand, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside was a small crystal, glowing softly. Mara picked it up. It felt warm, almost alive. "This is part of the map," she said. "It may be a key to the next chamber. Whoever created this place wanted to make sure only careful explorers could reach the end." Suddenly, the hall shook, and sand from above fell onto the floor. The team jumped back. An alarm? Taro asked. Or maybe another test? Kian checked the sensors. No immediate danger. But the energy readings spiked when Mara touched the crystal. It is definitely connected to the chamber's defenses. Mara held the crystal tightly. We cannot let fear stop us. This is why we are here. To discover, to learn, and to overcome. The team moved forward, following the map revealed by the crystal. It led them through twisting corridors and small chambers filled with more puzzles and carvings. Each step was a challenge, testing their observation skills, patience, and teamwork. They had to solve intricate patterns, align symbols with the light, and even match sounds with vibrations in the walls. By late evening, they reached a massive door. The surface was covered in carvings, showing a world of stars, planets, and life forms in balance. In the center was a symbol of a circle with a crystal at its heart. The door hummed with energy, and the crystal Mara carried began to glow brighter. This is it, Mara said. The next chamber is behind this door. The sacred chamber of eternity is close. We can feel it. Kian examined the mechanism. The crystal is the key. Place it here. He pointed to a shallow indentation in the center of the circle symbol. Mara carefully set the crystal in place. The door responded immediately. It slid open slowly, revealing a corridor bathed in golden light. The air smelled fresh, almost like a garden. The team stepped inside together, hearts racing. They had solved the map, completed the tests, and unlocked the next stage of the chamber. Yet, they knew the journey was far from over. Every step forward brought new mysteries and challenges. Mara looked at her team. We are ready. Whatever is waiting ahead, humanity will face it together. We are explorers. And we will uncover the sacred chamber of eternity. The corridor stretched ahead, glowing and full of promise. The team moved forward, their determination stronger than ever. The desert outside could wait. Here, deep underground, a secret older than human history was slowly revealing itself to those brave enough to follow the path of knowledge and courage. The golden corridor stretched far into the darkness, glowing with a soft, warm light. The air felt alive, as if it carried whispers of the past. Mara led the team forward, her hand brushing against the smooth walls. Every symbol seemed to watch them, humming faintly as they passed. Kian followed closely, scanning for traps or hidden mechanisms, while Taro, Nira, and Cello moved carefully behind. After a few minutes, the corridor opened into a massive chamber. The ceiling arched high above, supported by columns carved with strange symbols. The floor was patterned with a mosaic that shimmered like water in sunlight. In the center of the room stood enormous stone constructs, humanoid in shape, but much taller than any human. Their eyes glowed faintly, and their hands were positioned as if guarding the chamber. Mara froze. Guardians, she whispered. These must be the protectors of the chamber. The constructs shifted slightly, their movements smooth but deliberate. Kian stepped forward, holding his scanner. They are powered by the chamber itself. I don't see any signs of life, but they are not ordinary statues. We must be careful. Taro examined the floor patterns. The mosaic may be a trap or a test. We cannot move too fast. Every step matters. The team began to advance slowly, testing the floor tiles with small movements. As soon as they stepped on the center path, the construct's eyes glowed brighter. A low hum filled the air, vibrating through their bodies. The guardians had awakened, but they did not attack immediately. Instead, they seemed to observe. Mara spoke quietly. These guardians are designed to test intelligence and cooperation. They respond to how we act, not just to our presence. Kian nodded. We need to work together. If we make a mistake, the chamber itself may punish us. Stay alert. The first test appeared in the form of shifting lights on the walls. The lights created patterns that mirrored symbols Mara had seen in previous chambers. Taro realized that the lights formed sequences, and each sequence had to be completed correctly to proceed. Mara guided the team. Follow the patterns, not just the colors. Think about the meaning behind each symbol. We cannot rush this. Together, they solved the sequence. When the last symbol was correctly aligned, the mosaic tiles glowed, and the guardians lowered their hands slightly. The room hummed with approval. Mara felt a sense of accomplishment, but she knew the tests were not over. Next, the guardians' eyes turned a deep blue, and the chamber seemed to shift. Platforms rose from the floor, creating a path across the wide space. Each platform had a symbol, and stepping on the wrong one caused it to sink slightly. Mara realized the test was now about observation and careful judgment. Look at the symbols, she said. They tell a story. The path is in the order the story is meant to be read. Step carefully, and we will succeed. The team followed her guidance, stepping from platform to platform. Each movement required trust in one another. When Kian stumbled slightly, Mara caught his arm. When Taro hesitated, Nero whispered encouragement. Together, they reached the far side, where the platforms merged with the stone floor. The guardians moved again, forming a semicircle around the team. A large door appeared at the far end of the chamber, covered in more carvings. The energy from the room pulsed as if the guardians were approving their passage. Mara felt a surge of pride. Humans were being recognized not for strength, but for thought, teamwork, and patience. Every test was about our minds and spirits, Mara said. These guardians are not enemies. They are part of the chamber's lessons. We have shown we are worthy. Kian examined the door. It will open if we show respect and intelligence. We must place the crystal carefully, like before. Mara held the crystal high. The guardian's eyes glowed brighter, and the chamber vibrated gently. She placed the crystal in a circular indentation at the center of the door. Light spread across the carvings, illuminating the entire chamber. Slowly, the massive door slid open, revealing a long tunnel that seemed to stretch endlessly. As the team stepped into the tunnel, Mara took a deep breath. The sacred chamber is closer than ever. The guardians have tested us, but the journey is not finished. We must remain careful and continue to work as one. Taro smiled. We have proven ourselves already. If the chamber wanted to challenge strength, we could have failed. But our minds and teamwork carried us through. Nira nodded. This is what makes humans special. We learn, adapt, and face challenges together. That is why we can survive in places like this. Cello looked around the tunnel, scanning the walls. I can feel the energy growing. We are not just discovering the chamber. It is testing our very humanity. We must stay humble and focused. Mara led the team forward, their footsteps echoing in the long tunnel. The golden light ahead promised new discoveries, and the team felt both excitement and caution. The guardians had allowed them to pass, but Mara knew that the deeper they went, the greater the challenges would become. The desert outside was far away now. Underground, in the heart of an ancient world, humanity's spirit was being tested against the wisdom and intelligence of a civilization long gone. Mara felt a strong determination rise within her. Humans had overcome deserts, storms, and the unknown of space itself. Now, they were proving that courage, logic, and cooperation could conquer even the greatest mysteries. The tunnel stretched ahead, glowing softly. Mara glanced at her team. We are ready. The sacred chamber of eternity awaits, and we will uncover its secrets together. With renewed confidence, the team walked forward, leaving the guardians behind, but carrying the lessons of patience, intelligence, and unity in their hearts. Humanity had passed the first real test, and the chamber was beginning to reveal itself to those who were worthy. The tunnel opened into a vast hall filled with shimmering light. The walls were covered in symbols that seemed to move when the team looked at them. Colors shifted slowly, and the air felt thick with energy. Mara took a deep breath. This hall felt different from the previous chambers. It was quieter, yet the weight of its power pressed on their minds. This must be the heart of the chamber, Mara said. The energy here is stronger. We have reached the trial of mind and spirit. Kian scanned the hall. I detect multiple energy sources. Some may be traps, others may guide us. We must be careful with every step. Taro studied the floor. Look at the patterns. They are not random. They repeat in sequences. I think the chamber wants us to solve a puzzle to move forward. As the team walked cautiously into the hall, the floor beneath them glowed in sections. Mara realized that the chamber was testing their choices. Stepping on the wrong tile could lead to a delay or a challenge. The symbols in the floor seemed to reflect their thoughts, shifting according to their fears and doubts. Mara held her hands up. The chamber can sense our minds. It tests our focus and understanding. We must stay calm and work together. The first challenge appeared as walls of light rising on either side of them. The light formed shapes of impossible structures, doors that led nowhere, and paths that vanished. It seemed designed to confuse and distract. Kian spoke quietly. Ignore the illusions. They are here to test our attention. Focus on what is real. Think logically and keep moving. The team advanced slowly, pointing out patterns that matched previous symbols they had solved. Nira noticed a series of symbols that repeated in both the floor and the walls. Follow these, she said. They are consistent. They will lead us safely. As they moved, the chamber responded. The illusions shifted, but the correct path became clearer. The team realized that the hall was not punishing mistakes but teaching lessons. Every time they worked together, the path adjusted to reward teamwork. Suddenly, a low hum filled the hall. The energy around them seemed to grow heavier. Images appeared in the air, showing moments from their lives, choices they had made, times they had faced doubt, and moments they had helped others. Mara felt her heart beat faster. The chamber was testing their spirits, not just their minds. This is personal, Mara whispered. The chamber wants to know who we are, not just what we can do. Taro stepped forward. We cannot fear these visions. They are part of the trial. Remember why we are here. Remember what humanity represents: courage, curiosity, and cooperation. The hall's floor tiles began to rise slightly, forming platforms above a glowing chasm. Each platform had a symbol that represented a virtue: patience, courage, intelligence, and trust. Mara understood immediately. To cross safely, each member had to step only on the platforms that reflected their strongest virtue while supporting the others. Mara went first, stepping onto the platform labeled courage. The tile held firm. Kian followed on intelligence, Taro on patience, Nira on trust, and Cello on balance. The chamber glowed with approval. Each member of the team moved carefully, sometimes waiting for another to advance before taking the next step. Halfway across, a platform flickered. Nira hesitated. I am not sure if I belong here, she said. Mara reached her hand. We are all here together. Trust yourself. Trust us. Nira stepped forward. The platform stabilized. The chamber responded with a warmth that spread across the hall. Every challenge they faced seemed to measure not just skill but character. As they reached the far side, the glowing chasm disappeared, leaving solid ground. A massive door appeared, covered in carvings of stars, planets, and life in perfect harmony. The chamber pulsed with energy, signaling that they had passed the trial. Kian looked at Mara. We did it. The trial of mind and spirit is complete. The chamber recognizes our worthiness. Mara smiled. Not just worthiness. It recognizes humanity. Our ability to think, feel, and act together. That is why we can face the unknown and uncover secrets like this. Taro stepped closer to the door. The carvings show a place of knowledge and power. The sacred chamber of eternity is inside. Whatever awaits us, we are ready. Mara held the crystal they had carried through the previous chambers. The door seemed to respond to it. Slowly, it began to open, revealing a soft, golden light beyond. The hall inside smelled fresh, almost like a garden filled with sunlight and life. The team moved forward cautiously. Mara felt a strong sense of purpose. Humans had faced countless challenges across history, from deserts and storms to space itself. Now, deep underground, they were proving once again that intelligence, courage, and unity could conquer even the greatest mysteries. Cello looked around the chamber. This is beyond anything we have ever imagined. The knowledge and energy here are incredible. It feels alive, as if it is waiting for us to learn from it. Mara nodded. And that is exactly why we are here. We are not just explorers, we are humans who seek understanding, and this chamber is ready to share its secrets with us. The team entered fully, leaving the trial hall behind. The chamber welcomed them, its light growing brighter, signaling the next stage of discovery. They knew the journey was far from over, but their confidence and unity had never been stronger. As they moved deeper, Mara glanced at her team. The sacred chamber of eternity holds answers that humanity has never seen. We will uncover them, together. The golden light ahead promised knowledge, challenges, and revelations. The team walked forward, hearts full of hope and minds prepared for whatever lay ahead. Humanity had passed another test, and the chamber was beginning to reveal its deepest secrets to those who were worthy. The golden light spilled across the explorers as they entered the new chamber. It was the largest space they had seen so far, a hall so vast that its ceiling was lost in shadows. The walls glimmered with patterns that looked like constellations, each star glowing softly as if alive. The floor was smooth, polished stone that reflected their movements like water. At the center of the chamber floated a massive crystal, bright and radiant, suspended in midair without any visible support. Small streams of light circled around it like rivers of energy. The air was fresh, filled with a faint sound that resembled gentle music. Mara's breath caught in her throat. "This is it," she whispered. "The sacred chamber of eternity." The team stood in silence, overwhelmed by the sight. Kian checked his scanner, but the readings jumped wildly, unable to measure the energy. "It is beyond anything we have ever studied," he said. "This crystal is not just a source of power. It is a memory, a record of everything the civilization once was." Taro stepped closer, eyes wide with wonder. "The walls show the story," he said. "Look at the constellations. They tell of planets, stars, and journeys across the galaxy. Whoever created this chamber wanted to preserve their history." The explorers moved around slowly, studying the glowing patterns. Each constellation seemed to shift, revealing moments of creation, growth, and unity. Entire civilizations rose and flourished in these symbols. It was a story of wisdom and balance, not conquest. Nero whispered, "They were a people who valued knowledge and life. This place is their gift to those who come after them." As Mara stepped closer to the floating crystal, her mind filled with images. She saw cities that shone like stars, libraries filled with endless knowledge, and beings of light who walked among gardens of harmony. The vision spoke not with words, but with feelings. It was as if the crystal itself was reaching into her spirit, showing her the purpose of the chamber. She staggered back slightly. "It is alive," she said softly. "The crystal communicates. It recognizes us." The chamber responded. The streams of light around the crystal moved faster, filling the room with brilliance. The walls shifted, and new symbols appeared, showing humans standing beside the ancient beings. The message was clear: humanity was now part of this story. Kian placed his hand on one of the glowing walls. It accepts us because of our choices. We solved its puzzles, faced its trials, and trusted each other. That is what makes us worthy. Suddenly, the chamber shook. The light dimmed, and part of the floor opened to reveal a deep abyss. The music in the air turned into a sharp hum. From the shadows below, mechanical shapes began to rise. Cello pointed. Defenses. The chamber is giving us one final test. We must prove that we will use its gift wisely. 4 constructs emerged, smaller than the guardians they had faced earlier, but faster and sharper. Their bodies glowed with energy, and they moved toward the explorers with steady precision. Mara raised her voice. Remember what we have learned. The chamber rewards teamwork and intelligence. Do not fight with force alone. Think. Kian studied the constructs as they advanced. They are drawn to the crystal's energy. If we can redirect that energy, we may be able to stop them. Taro pointed to glowing panels on the floor. Those symbols match the patterns we saw before. They are controls. We need to activate them in the correct order. The team split quickly. Nira and Cello distracted the constructs, drawing them away with flashes of light from their devices. Mara, Kian, and Taro worked together to align the panels. Each step required them to recall the symbols from earlier trials. When Taro pressed the wrong symbol, the constructs advanced faster. Mara corrected him quickly. Patience. Follow the sequence of the constellations. Step by step, they activated the panels. The constructs slowed each time, their movements less precise. Finally, Kian placed his hand on the last symbol. The floor lit up with golden light, and the constructs froze. Slowly, they dissolved into streams of energy that returned to the crystal. The chamber brightened again. The abyss closed, and the music returned, stronger than before. The crystal pulsed gently, as if acknowledging their success. Nira breathed heavily. That was close. But we did it. We passed the final test. Mara nodded. The chamber was never about power alone. It wanted to see if we could remain calm, think clearly, and protect one another. That is the true measure of worthiness. The crystal glowed brighter, and once again images filled their minds. This time, they saw blueprints of technology, ways to create energy without harming the environment, and cures for illnesses long thought impossible. But along with the visions came a warning: use this knowledge with care, or risk repeating the mistakes of those who once built the chamber. Kian lowered his scanner. It is offering us knowledge, but not everything. It knows humanity is still young. We must choose wisely what we take. Mara felt the weight of responsibility. This is a gift, not a weapon. We will not take more than we can understand. We must honor the spirit of those who created this chamber. The crystal dimmed slightly, as if agreeing. The chamber became calm, filled with warmth and peace. The explorers stood together in the glow, realizing that they had uncovered not just a treasure of knowledge, but also a message about balance, humility, and the spirit of humanity. Mara looked at her team, her voice steady. We came here searching for answers, and we found more than we imagined. This chamber has tested us, taught us, and trusted us. Now, it is our turn to carry its lessons back to Earth. The team nodded in agreement. With care and unity, they prepared to leave the chamber, carrying fragments of wisdom that could guide their people toward a better future. The sacred chamber of eternity had revealed its heart, and humanity had been found worthy to learn from it. The chamber glowed gently, its crystal pulsing with calm energy. The explorers stood together in silence, feeling the weight of what they had uncovered. The visions they had seen still lingered in their minds: technology that could change life on Earth forever, cures for sickness, ways to harness energy without harming the planet. It was more knowledge than humanity had ever dreamed of, yet it came with a warning. Mara broke the silence first. This chamber is giving us a choice. We cannot take everything it offers. We must decide what to carry back and what to leave. Kian nodded. If we take too much, we risk misusing it. We have seen how advanced civilizations can fall when their own power is not balanced by wisdom. Nero looked at the glowing crystal. The visions showed harmony, not greed. The beings who built this place wanted their legacy to be used for good. We must respect that. Taro crossed his arms, his expression thoughtful. But think of what this knowledge could do. We could end hunger, heal the sick, and even explore new worlds faster than ever. Can we really walk away from that? Mara shook her head gently. We are not walking away. We are choosing carefully. There is a difference. If we rush to take everything, humanity may not be ready. The chamber has shown us that wisdom is as important as knowledge. The crystal pulsed brighter, as if responding to her words. The streams of light around it moved slowly, forming patterns in the air. Each pattern represented a different path. One path glowed blue, showing a vision of Earth thriving with clean energy and strong communities. Another path glowed red, showing a vision of conflict and destruction caused by greed. The final path glowed gold, balanced between both. Cello studied the paths the chamber is showing us possible futures. It is warning us that knowledge without wisdom can be dangerous. Kian looked at Mara. So how do we decide what to take? What knowledge is safe for humanity now? Mara thought carefully. We take what will help us grow responsibly. We choose knowledge that can guide us forward without giving us power we cannot handle. The rest must stay here until we are ready. The team gathered near the crystal. Together, they placed their hands on the glowing surface. Instantly, each of them saw visions of technologies and ideas. Some were simple improvements to farming, medicine, and energy. Others were powerful tools for space travel, weapons, and control. The chamber let them see everything but also let them feel the weight of each choice. Nira spoke first. This medical knowledge is safe. It can heal without harm. It will bring hope to millions. Taro nodded. The energy systems are also safe. They are clean, balanced, and will not cause destruction. They can help us protect our planet. Kian frowned slightly. The advanced propulsion systems for faster space travel are tempting, but they could lead to conflict. If humanity is not united, they may be misused. Mara agreed. Then we leave those for now. The chamber will remain, and one day, when humanity is ready, it will share more. But today, we must be humble. The crystal glowed warmly, as if approving their decision. Streams of light flowed from it, surrounding the explorers. Each of them felt the knowledge entering their minds, not overwhelming, but gentle, like seeds planted in fertile ground. They did not need to carry books or devices. The chamber itself had imprinted the safe knowledge into their memories. Cello smiled in amazement. It is giving us what we need directly. We will carry it with us, not in machines, but in ourselves. The light slowly faded, and the crystal dimmed slightly, returning to its calm state. The chamber grew quiet again, as if it had completed its task. The explorers stood in awe, feeling both grateful and humbled. Mara spoke softly. This was never about taking everything. It was about proving that we can make wise choices. The chamber trusted us, and we honored that trust. The team prepared to leave, their steps slow and thoughtful. As they walked back through the hall, the walls glowed faintly, almost like a farewell. The constellations shimmered one last time, showing humans walking among stars. It was a promise of what could one day be achieved if humanity continued to grow with wisdom. When they reached the golden corridor, Mara paused and looked back at the chamber. We will return one day. When humanity is ready, we will learn more. For now, we carry the gift of knowledge and the lesson of balance. The others nodded. They all felt the same. This journey was more than discovery, it was a responsibility. They had become guardians of knowledge, and their choices would shape the future of Earth. As they made their way toward the surface, the desert winds could be heard faintly above. The world outside had no idea what had been found deep below. But soon, humanity would feel the change, not in weapons or domination, but in healing, energy, and hope. Kian walked beside Mara and said quietly, "We came here as explorers, but we leave as something more. We are carrying the seeds of a better future." Mara smiled. "And it is up to all of us to protect those seeds until they grow." The team stepped forward with renewed determination. They had faced trials of mind, spirit, and choice. Now, they carried the wisdom of the sacred chamber of eternity back to their people, ready to share it carefully and responsibly. The explorers climbed slowly back toward the surface. The tunnels that had once seemed endless now felt different, as if the chamber itself was guiding them home. The glowing symbols on the walls pulsed gently, showing them the way. Each step echoed with a sense of finality. They had entered as seekers of mystery, but now they carried something far greater than discovery. When they emerged from the cave, the desert sky stretched wide and bright above them. The harsh wind still blew, and the golden sands shimmered under the sun. Yet to Mara and her team, everything felt changed. The desert no longer looked empty. It was the gateway to a secret that would forever shape humanity. For a long moment, the team stood in silence, looking at the horizon. Mara breathed in deeply. "We have done it," she said. "The chamber trusted us, and we honored that trust. Now the real journey begins." Kian adjusted his scanner and looked back at the hidden cave entrance. "The chamber will remain here, untouched by time. Others may try to find it, but only those who are worthy will succeed. It is not meant for greed. It is meant for balance." The team boarded their ship. Inside, the quiet hum of the engines felt comforting. They sat together in the main cabin, each one lost in thought. The knowledge the chamber had shared was still fresh in their minds. They could feel it, not like a weight, but like a light guiding them forward. Taro broke the silence. "When we return, people will want answers. Some will ask for power, others for wealth. How do we explain what we found without letting it be misused?" Mara's expression was calm but firm. "We share only what humanity is ready for. The chamber taught us that restraint is as important as discovery. We will reveal energy that can protect our planet, medicine that can heal, and ideas that inspire hope. Nothing more." "Not yet." Nira nodded. "It will not be easy. Some will demand more. Some will not understand why we hold back." Mara looked at each of them. "Then we remind them. Humanity is not defined by greed, but by the ability to grow wisely. We are proof of that. The chamber chose us because we stood together, not because we reached for everything." The ship lifted from the desert, the sands swirling below as the cave disappeared from view. The team watched the planet shrink behind them as they set course for Earth. The journey felt different this time. They carried no treasure, no relics, no weapons. Instead, they carried knowledge and the responsibility to guide it carefully. When they arrived back on Earth, news spread quickly. People gathered to hear their story. Governments and scientists demanded to know what they had found. Reporters asked endless questions. The explorers stood side by side, their voices steady. Mara spoke for the team. "We uncovered the sacred chamber of eternity. It is a place of knowledge, left behind by a civilization far older than our own. The chamber tested us, not for strength, but for wisdom, patience, and unity. It shared with us lessons that can help humanity grow. But we will not share everything at once. Some knowledge must wait until we are ready. What we bring now is meant to heal, protect, and inspire." The people listened, some amazed, some doubtful. Many wanted more, but others understood. Slowly, hope spread. Scientists studied the new medical knowledge and created treatments for diseases that had seemed impossible to cure. Engineers applied the clean energy systems, powering cities without harming the environment. Communities grew stronger, inspired by the message of balance and unity. Kian worked with researchers to build devices that captured energy from natural sources without waste. Taro taught geologists to apply the knowledge of the chamber to protect lands and waters. Nira helped doctors use the medical lessons to save lives. Cello guided technicians in creating tools that supported people without causing harm. And Mara traveled widely, sharing the story of the chamber, reminding people of the importance of wisdom over greed. Years passed, and Earth began to change. Cities grew cleaner, food became plentiful, and hope replaced despair in many places. Humanity did not become perfect, but the lessons of the chamber gave people a new path to follow. One night, Mara stood on a hill, looking at the stars. She thought of the constellations carved into the chamber walls, the visions of humans walking among the stars. She knew that one day, humanity would return to the chamber to learn more. But only when the time was right. Kian joined her, carrying a small device built with the chamber's knowledge. It glowed faintly, storing clean energy from the wind. "Do you think we made the right choice?" he asked. Mara smiled gently. "Yes. Humanity must grow step by step. The chamber trusted us to choose carefully. And we did. We have given our people hope, and that is the greatest gift of all." She looked back at the stars, her eyes filled with determination. The sacred chamber of eternity is not just a place. It is a promise. A promise that if we remain true to ourselves, if we value wisdom and unity, then no mystery in the universe is beyond our reach. The wind brushed gently across the hill as the stars shone brighter. Humanity had taken its first step into a future of balance and knowledge. The chamber remained far away, waiting patiently. But the explorers knew that one day, when the world was ready, humanity would return. And this time, they would uncover even greater truths. Until then, the gift they carried was enough. Enough to guide, enough to inspire, enough to remind humanity that the greatest strength was not in power, but in wisdom.